To me, these youngsters up here in town, I have a hard time with gender queer, gender fluid, all these in between. But the way to view transgender is, it's a continuum, okay? And you got the cross-dresser, the transvestite, then you fill in the blanks, and then you get transsexual, and then there's transsexual pre-op, post-op, etc. So it's a huge continuum in there that it's hard to pin identity on this title or this, this title.
Yes. That's me. I identify as gender fluid, which is a lot like gender queer, except not. Gender fluid, I'll speak to that since I identify as such, is basically, I feel as though I am, a lot of gender queer people feel as though they are neither gender, and they feel as though they should be able to, and they should, to, be not gendered either way. And by gendered, I mean, when someone walks in, you gender them what you think they are, like whether you want to or not. You know what I mean? Oh, she's a she, he's a he, something like that. But to be gender queer, to not want to be, to not feel as either of those things, and for me to be gender fluid, I don't feel as though I'm neither. I feel as though I'm both. I feel as though I'm equally both. Equally male, whatever it means to be male. I'm equally female, whatever that means to be female. And
So, for me, one of the biggest mental changes that happened once I started testosterone wasn't necessarily physiological, but it had a lot to do with how I feel in my body. Because it's very difficult for me to explain what a tremendous difference it is for me to feel my body and feel happy about it. And that's something that I haven't had before, and it changes the way that I interact with my body. And once you change the way that you interact with your body, you also change the way that you interact with the people around you. So it kind of has a ripple effect, like dropping a stone in a pond. Thank you. But that's probably the biggest difference for me. And there are some minor emotional things, but I think the biggest difference is the peace of mind that I get from knowing that my body's doing what I want it to do. It's growing.
As I mentioned earlier, it was 1951 when Christine Jarvis came out. I was 11 years old. And like I said, then there was that girl from the Parisian Entertainer, and then they started having more articles and these, it was like the Inquirer, these magazines like this. You would see more stories about this. Dressing like they would be, oh, so-and-so had a sex change, especially in the rock. That's where all my, back then, like I said, you just hit it, and you fought it, and that's when I knew that, that's my defining moments was I knew something.
This is actually a question that I've dealt with a lot in my transition, because I wasn't sure, and I wasn't sure, well, is this something that I'm doing for myself, or is this something that I'm doing for other people? And while I think that's a really important hypothetical question, at the end of the day, I have to live with myself in the context of society, and I can't really answer that question. If society wasn't the way it was, I don't know how I would feel, and that's something that I've kind of had to find peace with in order to transition, which I'm really enjoying. So.
2 months ago, I came out at work, and I told it started back in December. I went to HR. I wanted to transition to work, and HR lady I talked to, she didn't know much about it, so she called corporate, and they sent a lady down to help facilitate the transition. And on Friday I was to leave as Bill, and on a Monday come back as Charlotte. So that morning, that Friday morning when I got off work, they had my whole group go up to the conference room. And I went in there with them and stayed just for a couple of minutes and excused myself. Then they had a meeting. And what I heard that was in that meeting was unbelievable, what I heard afterwards. I work in maintenance, and I work around all men. It's all guys. A lot of them were very accepting, and started even then calling me Charlotte. I mean,
Titanium star, which we won't go into, but I was a gold star, and I was proud of that fact. But then, like, as I began to transition, and the further I get into it, the more queer I get, like the more different, like sexuality queer, the more queer I get, as in like the more different things appeal to me. More so, men, which is weird. It's weird for me. It's not weird for people.